Welcome to Gaia's Love, a podcast of brief messages to help humanity bridge the gap to the new earth. My name is Vivienne Gerard. It is my delight to be a scribe for consciousness today, sharing the wisdom that flows through from Source. Here we go. Episode 84. It is Monday today, the beginning of a very fun and exciting week here for me. And I arrived so happy and so eagerly anticipating all that is yet to arrive, as Esther Hicks says in her meditations, eagerly anticipating all that is yet to arrive, and also content with what is currently unfolding, content with where I am in this moment. Weather report here in Cincinnati. It is a little hazy, warm, kind of rainy this morning, but sun is starting to pop out. Star is seeing squirrels as they all prepare to put their nuts away for the winter. So you may hear him kind of running from window to window in the background. But it is such a fun day. All right, so today when I was pondering where to tap into the energy for this week, or how to share how I'm feeling without being too excited or too overwhelmingly happy, I kept feeling the word stretching, and I love the synchronicities that continue to show up. As I was getting dressed and ready this morning and blow drying my hair, I opened up my Instagram account, and the very first post was Snatam Kaur standing in front of this beautiful facility stretched out in a yoga pose, and she's talking about how we're all stretching and we need to stretch ourselves today. She had posted it an hour before, which was right when I was on my run getting that same message of we need to stretch today. So I love the winks that continue to show up in my path, and I share them with you so that you keep your radar open to see those same winks and nudges in your path. Okay, so today, stretching. The reason it came up is that I wasn't sure I would be able to run today because it's been raining a lot, and it was really cold and rainy last week, and so I didn't get to run as often as I usually do. And so I wasn't sure I was going to do it, and then I saw that it had stopped raining by the time I got home from taking my son to school. And so I put on my clothes, and I was sitting down on the floor to start stretching my legs out. And every muscle in my body was so tight, like literally it hurt to stretch. And that's not normal for me. For not running to hurt when I stretch, I was like, what is up with this? And what I realized as I started moving, when I went outside and started to run, is that I've spent quite a bit of time being still and meditating and tuning in and creating content last week. A lot of computer time, a lot of being in one position and not moving my body. And it was more than I'd realized the space between when I had been running a lot and this morning. And so the muscles were tight. And as I started to run, I could feel everything starting to work its way out and hurt a little. And so I would run and then I would walk. And, that pace, slowing that pace down allowed me to also be more present with how beautiful the morning was and all the leaves that had fallen and the colors that were everywhere, the children that were coming out to get on the school bus, the dogs that were barking at me from the windows. It was like everything just sort of slowed, and I could be a little more present. And so I was pondering all of this as I was run walking this morning. We are in a time where I feel like so many of us are being pushed to stretch our ideas of who we are, stretch our ideas of what we can tolerate or accept, question the ways that we see issues and topics coming up politically, socially, environmentally. There's so much that is coming into question for us all the time, and we can stay rigid and stuck in what we have always believed and held onto as truth, or we can do some run walking, allow some new awarenesses to come in and ponder them and contemplate and sift through what feels true for us in this new moment as consciousness is expanding on our planet, as humanity is waking up, as the government is shifting here in the United States, the ways that we engage politically. We're all being stretched out of our comfort zones. And the image I kept seeing when I was out this morning was of a rubber band, and I guess our muscles are a little bit like a rubber band. If the rubber band is stretched often, it becomes looser and stretches more easily. If it sits for years and it gets hardened and that chemical composition of the rubber band becomes more solid or dense, the first time we try to stretch that rubber band, it's going to snap, and then it'll break and you won't have that elasticity anymore. And I was feeling how my body was showing me that. I sat for a while last week and was focused in a different way. And when I started to move my body again, the muscles had this resistance or tautness, tension that they hadn't had when they were used more often. When we push through that tension and force something to happen, or, if I had come out, and I've done this many times to my body because of my ego, I come out and I run and I'm like, yes, first run in the spring where I haven't run in months. I'll go hardcore, super fast. I'll run 30 minutes without any break. And then I can't walk for 4 days because my muscles are like, what did you do? We're not ready for that. We sometimes push ourselves through what we know our bodies can't quite handle. And then the body comes back like an elastic band. It gets more tight. It contracts in. And then we're suffering and berating ourselves and yelling at our ego for telling us to be so stupid. There's a lashback that happens when we force. The contraction that comes after that forced expansion, it stings, it hurts. So as we are all emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, physically being pushed to stretch right now, to stretch how we're showing up in our lives, to stretch how we're engaging with the people around us, to stretch our awareness collectively as a humanity, to open up to new ideas, to open up to new ways of doing things, to open up to new ways of expressing our voices, to open up to new ways of being more visible or shining our light more brightly. As we stretch those ways, we can do it with grace and ease. We can do it gently, little by little, trusting, breathing, allowing some spaciousness to just make it an easy expansion. And when we do that, we are stretching, we are becoming more, but we're not forcing it. And so it can just be a natural progression of who we are and how we're evolving. And if we're all just gently doing that, and then sharing with compassion and kindness and respect, our humanity can just gracefully continue evolving. New ways can be created to do things, to show up without blowing everything apart. In contrast, when we push through, force our way, yell as we're expressing, make sure someone got it that we're stretching, right? Push this this issue or this project or this belief on other people, when we're forcing that stretch, there's going to be some sort of contraction back in, whether it comes from ourself, our soul, or from those we've been pushing and resisting against. It'll contract back in. And then there's that sort of sting that happens. So as we make our way through the next few days, which here in the United States we have Election Day tomorrow, and it feels like a very bouncing is the word I get, a bouncing day energetically, where people may literally stretch and contract and stretch and contract and expand and contract, and like they may go through that 10, 20 times tomorrow, or they may force and push and exert their opinion on others and then have a lashback that comes in. If we can hold the visual of an elastic band perhaps over the next few days and just visualize each of us as slowly stretching and becoming a little bit bigger, a little bit wiser, a little more compassionate, a little bit more loving, and then settle into that bigger version of ourselves. And breathe through any effort or forcing that we might want to be doing. Just breathe through it and then expand again a little bit wider. It's an energetic feeling that we do from inside of ourselves. And as we're just gently making more room for ourselves to show up, everyone doing that, it can be a really peaceful, gentle expansion of consciousness tomorrow. We can move through the elections, whatever the results are, and do it with acceptance of a system that has created everyone having an equal voice, everyone having equal room to show up and contribute their vote. We can all gracefully expand as we hold this energetic vibration. There's room for all. There's respect for all. There's acceptance of a process that we all voted to move through. So stretching, it feels like the energy, the visual, to help guide us through a big shift here in the United States. And for those who are listening who are not in the United States, whatever your match is to this, hold space for your country, hold space for our country, hold space for the expansion of love as a humanity on our planet. Hold space for the healing of all humans on our planet. So beautiful. So today we stretch, tomorrow we stretch, and the next day we keep stretching. Thank you for tuning in to today's vibration. Let's take this message of pure love out into all of our communities and continue expanding love here on Gaia. So much love from my heart to yours.